we have one final topic that we might get a little bit heated on again, which is the purse.
Let me tell you guys, I have never seen such an atrocity. Like, this is an injustice, the purse. I asked Hunter what the purse was, and he told me it was $56,000.
$56,450.
And I was like, wow, like that's a pretty good purse. All right, that's good job, Pro Tour. We got some money together. And then I was like, okay, so how much did the winner take? $3,776. That's bad. That's really bad.
Now, one thing I want to point out
That's so bad.
is this is the total pro purse. So that does include the women.
I'm about to look at their payouts.
Women, the winner got $2,000. Paige got $2,000.
Their breakdown was almost better. Here's the bottom line. The bottom line
Their
really,
breakdown was better.
the distribution of the pot is one thing. It's awful when literally between 6th placed and the tie for 10th, like there's like a couple $100 difference in their winnings. Like there's just no disparity there. I mean, I want to see if we have a $56,000 pot. Like I want the winner to take home 5 figures.
So you're saying $10,000?
I want him to win $10,000. We paid out 55. I say we. I didn't do anything. They paid out 55 players.
Well, that's 38% of the field.
30. That's too much. I think 20% of the field is probably a little bit better.
So
There's
I
only,
can already hear people, and
Yeah.
part of me is on their side a little bit on this. A small part of me, because
Okay.
I think I have a solution that I'm going to propose, but I can already hear people saying, well, if we cut it to 20%, then what about people trying to survive on tour? You're going to make it where we don't have as many touring pros, and then the purse is smaller because we don't have many touring pros. That's the argument behind it. That's the counter argument.
Okay, so here is the argument to that. Okay, in order to get our money in the purses should not be as dependent on registration. Okay,
But right now it is.
Okay, but here's how do we get more people interested? It's like a long train, so stay with me.
Okay.
So how do we get money? Where else do we get our money from the purse? We get it from sponsors, right? Added cash. Okay, so how do we get that? We have to have an enticing product. How do we have an enticing product? Better golf. More people will watch it, and there'll be more audience if it's better golf. How do we have better golf if it's more cutthroat? Okay, which means less players get paid, so you have to finish higher to get paid. I mean, you could literally be a journeyman, and you could just say, I'm just going to come top 20, top 30, top 55, and I'm going to make my money back at least and kind of just chip away. I want it to be like more difficult to tour.
So, I mean, I agree with you.
At the pro tour level we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like this is the
That's what I was about to
highest
say.
level of the sport.
To me, the Pro Tour, in my eyes, should not adhere to the PDGA payout standards.
Right.
The Pro Tour should have their own payout standards and run with that. Because I think that the Pro Tour, we've talked about this before, it needs to be a little bit more of an elite tour.
I agree.
There's players, let's look at the lowest rated player in the field this week was 905 rated.
That's not it.
Why is he playing in the Pro Tour? And I've looked at this before, right? Because I can already, I know people's...
Hey, you just said rating, by the way.
Well, yeah, I had to look at that. Ouch. But I know people are saying, like, that player at the bottom of the field. I'm going to just go with who came in last. Joshua. I'm not going to say his last name.
Okay.
Unless if someone wants to look up his last name, they can search him. That way I don't defame him on podcasts. But, okay, so people are saying, like, him through, 100th place, whatever it is, they're all increasing the purse, so they're increasing the payout. But realistically, from what I've looked at, that is not really that true, because the less people in the field is the less people you have to pay out.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
So really, the more people that are down low, it's making a very marginal change to the top.
Yeah.
It's making a bigger change to last cash, and it's just lowering where that last cash has to be. So realistically, if we cut the field,
Yeah.
right? If we cut the field to like 125, the payout shouldn't, in theory, change amongst the top 5 or 6 players, which is where the money should be focused on. Because at the end of the day, you're trying to win a tournament. You're not trying to come in 30th and survive on tour.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any player that's on tour is looking at 30th and saying, yeah, if I can just stay here, make a few $100 a week, I'm golden.
Yeah.
Those players probably shouldn't be on tour. If they're like okay with just being in 30th place over and over, what are they doing for our sport? Nothing. Some of those players are up and comers. I get that. And so some of those players that are coming in 30th right now, a few years from now, might be coming in first.
Yeah.
But some of the players that historically have been coming, and we probably don't even know their names, that's my point, have historically been coming in like 30th to 40th to 50th place over and over and over.
You can build your rep, like even as an up and comer though, like you can build your rep without being on the most elite tour.
That's the thing. Is right now the most elite tour is up to your perception. No one's telling us what the most elite tour is.
Yeah.
Because if the national tour is going on right now, who like the pro tour versus the national tour, it's up to your opinion as to which one's more elite. The pro tour, in my opinion, is way more, but it's up to a player and a viewer's opinion. Because there's no one telling us like this is the pro tour, this is the highest. And I think that's what's holding us back to a certain degree in getting sponsors is if I'm Nike looking in at this and I'm trying to pour money in and I see Paul McBeth's playing at a national tour and Paul McBeth's playing at a pro tour and I'm an outside.
Yeah, what's the big one?
Yeah, which one? And they're both paying out about the same players are at both. Which tour am I investing in?
Yeah.
And then if Nike makes the wrong decision in my eyes and invests in the national tour, which I don't think they would do. I think the pro tour is pretty clear cut right now. But if they invested in the national tour, which would still be huge for the sport, that would also set us back a little bit because the pro tour is making strides towards being that elite tour. Yeah. But if
it would tighten up that race a bit.
To me, what needs to happen in 2021, the national tour needs to go away. It needs to become, those events need to be adopted into the pro tour, and any event that doesn't fit the pro tour schedule needs to be adopted into the pro tour silver series. The silver series needs to become what you have to play to qualify for the pro tour.
If you don't have your card, you're saying.
That's how you get your pro tour card, as your silver series. You take the top 100 whatever players in the pro tour standings from this year.
Give them a card.
Give them a card. That's next year's touring pros.
Yeah.
If you're a touring pro, you're more than welcome to go play a silver series event if you want to cash 40% deep. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a pro tour event, you're guaranteed if you win, they're getting 10K plus. If you come in second, you're getting like $5 to $8,000. You know, there's going to be big drop-offs. And then if you come in last cash at 143 players, you know, we're talking about like 30th place, 40th place.
Yeah.
Because you're the top of the top. You're not there to, you know, diddly-daddle around, whatever that word is, and finish in 50th place or 40th place and just grind it out on tour.
You just have to...
That's not what the tour's for.
They just got to, they have to adopt that attitude of like, this is the best of the best, and like, there's no slacking. If you want to be competitive on this tour, if you want to make money, you got to be winning.
Yeah.
And if you're going to win, you got to be the best of the best.
And that's where, you know, the players that are on that cusp that are trying to break through, you go to the silver series. You try to break through in the silver series because those events are going to pay out like what we're seeing these events paying out. Yes, the purse won't be as high, but if the purse, I mean, with the percentages we're looking at here, if the purse was down to 40,000, the Eagle's probably taking home like $2,900 or $3,000 still. Yeah. Because he's not taking that big of a percentage. So his number's not drastically dropping. So like, what are we really looking at as far as like added cash goes to? Because all it's doing is the lower it gets, the fatter that payout is percentage-wise of the purse for where they finished.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, you have to look at disc golf and not think about how many players can we get into an event, but how many eyes can we get on the event.
Yeah.
Okay. Audience is what drives income, not players. Okay, we want the best players, and we can get the best players, but we want audience, and getting audience means making the product the best it can be. That's where the focus needs to be.
Yeah, and I think that also creates more storylines and more drama. I think one thing that people aren't going to like is that is a lot like golf. But to me, it's not about being like golf. It's about saying, this is working for golf, so let's make this work for disc golf. Because like...
Or try it, because disc golf is so young. We can try stuff and then just say that didn't work. Didn't work.
To me, having a defined tour that is a marketable product, you can sell the whole tour. You can not sell the tour, but as the
naming rights.
Yeah, as a sponsored product, you can sell the whole tour. You can sell each individual event. You can guarantee, hey, this is the top 125 players will be at each of these events. Period.
Yeah.
If they're a touring pro, this is their schedule. That doesn't even exist. Every year we're wondering, what's Paul playing? What's Ricky playing? What's this player playing?
I have to imagine too that the pro tour, if it became the premier tour in disc golf, that the viewership has to be getting to the point where they can find a pretty big company.
We're getting 17,000 live concurrent viewers when Paul's not on a card.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If we can bring these numbers to like a big company, I mean, I would think they could sell naming rights, like the pro tour presented by whoever. Like,
well, that's the
for
thing.
big money.
We need to. I was talking to I believe it was Sam Doyle, and he does a lot with marketing, and he brought up a great point. We need to stop marketing individual events and market the tour.
Whole tour.
Because if you go to a sponsor right now and we're saying, hey, if you want to sponsor the Great Lakes Open, you're going to get 60,000 views.
No, we want
on this live
all
coverage.
the views for the whole thing.
Exactly. Versus, hey, if you sponsor the Pro Tour, we're looking at like 1 million views.
Yeah, I feel like they would
That's like it's a big company's jumping on that. 1 million views, in untouched market. So you're gonna have it way cheaper than 1 million views in any other sport.
I feel like if they take that approach, like, I mean, I feel like there's a potential for big money there, to where we see like if they're able to throw that into purses, then, or even back into their own production, like.
To me, this isn't a Pro Tour decision though.
No,
because I think this is what the Pro Tour wants to do. Just from the outside looking in, seeing them create this Silver Series, seeing the way they're rebranding the tour, seeing the steps they're taking, I think that what I'm saying right now and what you're agreeing with and what we've said multiple times, I think we're on the same wavelength as the Pro Tour.
Yeah. I
think the question mark, and to be honest with you, something holding disc golf back a little bit, is the PDGA right now. It's not the PDGA on A tier, B tier, C tier level. They're doing a ton growing the sport, and that should be appreciated and welcomed and promoted. The PDGA is killing it on that side. But I think the PDGA is holding it back on trying to hold on to this Elite Series that hopefully they canceled it because of COVID this year. Hopefully that was it.
We would hope so.
And I think what they had planned, just hand that to Jeff Springs and say, this is yours. Go kill it.
It's tough to like think in terms of like taking a step back like that, especially when the PDGA is so big, but you just have to do it for the better of the sport.
Well, that's what's hard too, is the national tour has more history.
Yeah.
So we've talked about history, and we've talked about like stuff like that, like the Hall of Fame Classic, some of these events, which the Hall of Fame Classic wasn't going to happen this year. So, I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But anyways, some of these events do have more history. So that's why I think it's important to keep them. But I think it's important to restructure them into what's going to grow the sport the most. And having one tour, I think, is crucial because it's confusing. That's all it is. Especially when we had 3 tours at one point. When we had the National Tour, the Pro Tour, and the World Tour.
That was a mess.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that's a mess.
Like, what are we thinking with that? Because
it's just people, they get these ideas, they create these tours, and they want their tour to be the latest, greatest, biggest tour. That's it. That's all it is. It's just they want to be the biggest.
And that's the thing is, at some point, we have to stop being selfish and stop saying, I want my tour to be the tour, and put all our eggs in one basket and grow the sport. Because
that'll, I mean, as a side effect, that will grow everybody, aside from having their own tours. The PDGA can be a governing body and grow because they decide to take that step.
Yes. And I think that's what needs to happen.
We'll see what happens with the upcoming election.
We'll see if it does happen. Yeah, the board of directors election, I think, could actually be big in this.
Could shake things up, yeah.
This was the first time that they've had, I think there were 17 different people, which first off, only like 20% of current PDGA members voted. What are we doing?
I voted.
Will
Shoestrick. Come on.
But that's something that I think we're kind of like, this is how we can have our voices heard in the PDGA, is put people that agree with us and agree with our ideals into the positions to make these changes. Because stuff like this is like, that to me is one of the biggest things holding disc golf back. A lot of times we talk about stuff that needs to change with disc golf and whatever. Disc golf's not broken.
No.
It's just that where we are right now versus where we could be is drastic. And so I'm looking at it, to me, it's painfully obvious that this is going to happen one day.
Mm-hmm.
And only thing that's holding it back is like just 1 or 2 people are standing in the way saying, no, this national tour needs to happen, or whatever it may be. There's a few decisions that have to happen, and they're going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Players are eventually going to see more money at the Pro Tour. They're going to care less about the national tour. This is already happening to a certain degree.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to start caring less about the national tour, and the national tour is probably going to become obsolete or become a lower level tour. So what are we trying to hold on here?
Tough to say.
We just need to go ahead, nip it in the bud, have the Pro Tour absorb the national tour, take the good events, run them as Pro Tours, and take the bad events, run it as not bad events, but lower tier events, run them as Silver Series, and just bite the bullet. Do it. That's way more marketable. That makes way more sense. And that, to me, is something that is huge that could grow the sport if we just did it.
Yeah, 100%.